forgot to turn my YouTube stream on. I haven't been streaming to YouTube at all. And it still says birthday stream. Still getting used to that. Here we go. Has anyone asked your thoughts on the new Custodes yet? No, I've shared my thoughts in Hoodguard stream and a couple other places, but I think they look pretty cool. I think they're infinitely better than some of the more recent Custodes sculpts for 40K, especially that captain that's just so incredibly squat looking. These look a lot better. Some of the faces are sculpted and painted pretty darn well. I thought they were Joy Toy minis rather than 28 millimeter or 32 millimeter Warhammer scale minis. So some of those sculpts are good. There's a couple sculpts, a couple paint jobs that especially for the female Custodes, that the GW just doesn't do a good job of painting female faces. They just don't. I don't know what it is, but they just don't seem to know really how to paint a female face well without it making it look just really masculine. Now, their Custodes, they're going to be full of all kinds of crazy drugs and other gene enhancements that might make them look more masculine. But I don't think GW knows how to paint female faces very well without making them look hyper masculine. I mean, I'm not looking for like babes or anything. I'm just looking for something that's a little bit more, a little softer, a little slightly softer, a little bit more what's the word we're looking for? A little bit more satin in terms of the skin tone, or in terms of the highlights on the skin, a little bit less harsh in the highlights, just to give a little bit of a more of a difference between them. But overall, I think they're pretty good. The painters have never met a woman. That's why. Oh yeah, I don't. The Dreadnoughts? Oh no, I think they look great. I think overall, I think they look awesome. And for the record, I have zero problem with female Custodes. I was pretty hyped when they did that. I think that's awesome. I'm all for it. Totally okay with it. I'd also be okay with female Space Marines. But GW did put a pretty firm foot down in the latest, one of their latest articles about talking about the Custodes and the female Custodes, that Space Marines are made from males. So that kind of like, yeah, that's right now, unless something in the technology changes, that is what it is. Which is, that's fairly well known. It would take a pretty big change to the technology to get it to work with female chromosomes or hormones or whatever pseudoscience they're using for this, which is, it's all pseudoscience, But I think the new Custodes models look awesome. I think the new Eldar Corsairs models look awesome, and the red Corsairs, the Renegade Space Marines, oh, they look incredible. I'm looking forward to those. Those are going to be awesome. I'm very excited for those. I'm very excited to get my hands on some of those. Just for the fun, pure fun of painting them. Some really, really cool characters in there. I think Blackheart looks pretty awesome. I think his retinue looks great. The dog soldier, the new Xeno soldier that's in his retinue, she looks awesome. I think that's gonna be a blast to paint. I'm playing a bunch of Elden Ring models. I'm playing a bunch of Elden Ring mods. Oh, cool. I also really loved how in the article they were just like, also, yeah, you know how they're just using for 40. Yes, yeah. The road Corsairs are so sick. I know literally just last week I was whining about too many Marines to kill team, but I wouldn't be mad about a Red Corsairs team. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It runs surprisingly well in my low specs laptop. Fantastic inside. That's awesome. I know it can be pretty frustrating sometimes. We're trying to do some of these bigger games, especially when they're modded on lower end laptops. So it sounds like it's working out for you, which is awesome. Especially with how expensive it's going to be to upgrade laptops or even desktops here pretty soon. It's already prohibitively expensive. Really happy I upgraded RAM when I did, when it was still, didn't cost an arm and a leg. RAM prices are crazy right now. I also like the Ossiarch Bone Reapers. I like their some of their new models. Those look awesome. Let's see. Ossiarch Bone Reapers, and then there was also the not Ideneth Deepkin, the Mountain Elves. They've got a new leader coming out. He looks cool. The new the Eldar the model that I think I'm the most excited about is the Eldar Corsair Psyker, because he's got the bug-eyed helmet, and that bug-eyed helmet is back from like one of the original Eldar Farseer models with it, and it's almost exactly the same as the Sandman's helmet from the first Sandman graphic novel. And if you watch the Sandman TV show, his Sandman's helmet is basically that. So it's like the Sandman Sandman Eldar, which I've always liked that original model. I've never been able to get my hands on it. I keep looking for it at a reasonable price. I haven't found it yet, but I do want to get that Eldar Farseer model because I want to paint him up black like Sandman. Black like Morpheus. I think that'll be really, really cool. I was supposed to be building a PC, but I gotta save some more now. Yeah. I'm really hoping that the RAM situation doesn't mean the new Steambox thing is DOA, because I was looking forward to that. Yeah, I know I know plenty of people that were doing the same. Totally understandable. Okay. I don't think I'm going to start on the gold of the I don't think I'm going to start on the non-metallic metal of the antlers yet, but I do want to base coat them. I'm going to repaint right over them. So we're not stripping paint or anything like that. I am just painting over these. I'm going to take my dark umber and go right over the antlers specifically. I think I'm going to leave the rest of the head okay. I think I can. That still reads close to non-metallic metal to me, so I can still work on that and refine that. But the antlers just don't read as anything other than brown and yellow to me. to my eyes, so they need to be completely redone. So we'll just base coat here with the brown, and I may need to go to a darker brown to match the shadows on the rest of the head, but we'll just put this over everything, let it dry, and then evaluate from there. That's one of the frustrating things about this. These antlers are such complex shapes. They're kind of like compound curve, or not compound curves, but they're just, you know, shape upon shape upon shape. It's kind of hard to get those to read. And I may just say, you know what? The head is non-metallic metal. That's actual bone. Because I don't want to deal with that being non-metallic metal. I may just make the antlers. Yeah, they're actual antler bones, but the rest of it's gold. He found the antlers, and unfortunately, the way he killed this was he hit it with his hammer, so that the skull was shattered. So they just made the skull out of gold, so that he could put the antlers on. That's what happened. That's what we're going with. I may just do that. I need to learn how to paint in this style. What do you mean by this style? Help me understand, and maybe I can help a little bit. Are we talking about what's the delta? Just pictures of Votank holding it like, I broke it. Yeah, I broke it. Just the whole aesthetic. Gotcha. Yeah, so I'm going kind of high contrast. So you see you've got really dark shadows and really bright highlights, even on these flat areas. But I've got a fairly smooth, or try to make a fairly smooth gradient in between these, so that it doesn't look metallic. Because if I was doing a really fast gradient in between these, it would look like metallic teal. It'll start looking like non-metallic metal, and that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for high contrast, because high contrast means it's visually interesting, more interesting to look at. I'm going for high contrast, but matte surfaces. So surfaces that appeared like they're not reflecting a huge amount of light. There's that. So, and then we're also doing volumetric highlighting. So I'm not just putting the colors down. I'm also trying to use the highlights and shadows in a way that would show the light actually reflecting off of these surfaces as they would off of, you know, an actual... Where did it go?
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives
precisely what it means to. It's Kronos. Thank you so much for the raid. Hello, hello. Welcome on in. Inside Art, I completely agree with you. I would love for the Grey Knights to be updated. I would love for them to be updated. I'm doing well, it's Kronos. How are you doing? How was your stream? What'd you work on? What were you doing? Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Ryan. I'm the Useless Wizard. We are working on a Golden Demon project. I submitted this for Golden Demon last year. I got a pin. I was very happy about that. And then I got some feedbacks from some of my painter buddies who are much better painters than I am. And, you know, we're trying to execute on some of that feedback so that we can resubmit this at Adepticon with you know, more refinement and more contrast, and make it easier to read, and just have it be a lot more refined than it was. And who knows, maybe we'll do better. Maybe we'll be able to get like a finalist or something. I don't know, but this is all part of trying to become a better competition painter, and that's kind of my goal. That's kind of my thing. I teach miniature painting classes at conventions. I'll be teaching at Adepticon, but this is all in pursuit of just being a better painter. And also, I really enjoy teaching. I really enjoy helping other people develop in the same way that I've developed, and maybe hopefully make things a little bit easier for them than it was for me. And overall, I just want to encourage people in their own path. It feels really cliche and cheap to say their own journey, but that's really what it is. Everybody's going their own way. So that's what we're hanging. That's what we're doing here. Doing good. Painted my first ever mini tonight. Oh, that's awesome! I was working on an Eldar Scorpion Striker. I got as a free mini of the month. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, the Eldar Scorpion Aspect Warriors are awesome. Those are some really cool new models. Well, that's fantastic. If you have any pictures or anything, I'd love to see it. Well, if you don't worry about it. You know, it's totally cool. But a lot of the mini painting channels on Twitch here tend to be link friendly. So, you know, usually as long as you double check with the streamer, you're able to share links to what you've been working on and what you've been painting. So you're always welcome to do that. But that's super fun. I hope you had a good time. Let's see how we just got Custodes upgrades, and GW likes to make people happy every once in a while. It has to make Grey Knights are updated in 5 to 7 years. Yeah, you know, with the Custodes update, I totally understand where they're coming from and why they're focusing on it. But I as much as I disagree with the people who hate female Custodes and want more focus on Sisters of Battle and Sisters of Silence, as much as I disagree with them on the hate for female Custodes, I 100% am with them on the Sisters of Silence. They need more stuff. They should be focused on more, especially with Ashes of the Imperium coming out and the reveal that happened on Luna. They need more stuff. They should have more stuff. They should be thought of more and fleshed out more on the tabletop. That's the only thing I really agree with the people that don't like female Custodes. That's the only thing I agree with them on, really. I have to track you down at Adepticon and say hello. Absolutely, PBL. Absolutely. Now, PLB. Oh my God. When we're at Adepticon, if you're going to be there, make sure you pop in the Discord into my Discord so that you can so that we can like coordinate hanging out or something. Sorry, we can't do Sisters of Silence. We have 37 more Astartes kits to do this year. Dang it! That's disappointing. Well, if you're gonna do these Astartes kits, can you guys do Mark V armor, please? Can you do Mark V Space Marine armor? Because where'd he go? Oh, he's packed away. Because I had to go out and buy a metal Mark V Marine in order to make my metal Mark V Lieutenant. I'm not super excited about that. I need plastic Mark V, please. And then plastic Mark VIII. That's not Death Watch. Come on! Just for the Horus Heresy. Mark V for the Horus Heresy. It's for all the Mark II. We've got Mark II. We just had that. We have Mark III. We have Mark IV. We have Mark VI. Those are all Horus Heresy kits. They didn't make Mark V, probably because of the amount of stud of like rivets that are on their legs. Probably be really difficult to mold those properly. And then we've got Mark VII Errant armor, Aquila armor. And then we've got Mark VIII Errant armor, which really the only way you can get that is the Death Watch Veterans box, which is the Firstborn Death Watch Marines. And then they skipped 9. There's no Mark 9 armor, and they went to Mark 10, the Primaris stuff. What was I going to do with this? Yes, I wanted to show really quick. So I bought these shapes off of Amazon, and I primed them, and I hit them with different with paint with different finish qualities on it. And this is a little satin but fairly matte, just to kind of show in classes how light reflects off of these surfaces. And so we could turn it, and you can see that now I've got two different desk lamps, so you can see both of those highlights there. Then I go here, and both of those blend into the one horizontal highlight. But you can see the highlight always travels up and down the long axis of the cylinder. Always. It never it doesn't do anything else. And but here you can also see this compared to... I don't have I don't have the metallic ones handy, but this one is shiny, kind of like metallic. Do you see how much sharper the highlights are and how much brighter the highlight is on this highly reflective version? That's one of the main differences that you have to figure out when you're doing non-metallic metal versus just regular painting, and just like the finish on your surface is what really helps the eye see one is shiny and the other is matte. And so that's why I'm making sure that I've got fairly diffuse highlights here. Even though I've got deep shadows and bright highlights, I've got fairly diffuse gradient in between these, because I want this armor to look like it's matte rather than shiny. If I wanted it to look shiny, I'd have very fast gradients, short gradients between those. Does that make sense? New Mark V sculpts would actually be so peak. I agree. I just think that there's a problem with the mold making process, because with the Mark VI armor, this shoulder pad is the studded shoulder pad. It's the one that's got studs all over it, and they had to make that in two different pieces so they wouldn't have underhangs. If you look at older studded shoulder pads for Mark VI and the similar, the studs on the outside look great, but the ones that are really close to like inside here, they're a teardrop shape because of the way the molds work. So in order to avoid that, they had to split the shoulder pads in half, and man, that wasn't popular. So imagine having to do that up here, but then also figuring out how do you have studs across both the fronts of both shins. How do you mold that? That's probably the biggest problem of why we're not getting Mark V. Unless they can figure out how to cheaply do that, which they could probably just make like the front of the shins a two-part, like have that removable and make that a two-part piece, and then you just glue those together, then you glue it onto the front. Unless they can do something like that, I don't think we'll ever get Mark V. And now that the heresy is basically over, I don't know if we're gonna get Mark V at all. But the game is also, it lags behind the storyline. We'll see. Awesome, thank you. Thank you for putting that in the chat. We do need to take some time and look at people's works in progress and completed projects, because I did put out a call for those last Friday or Sunday, and I put in a call for those on Wednesday. No. Go ahead and put those in. Go ahead and put your if you've got works in progress or completed projects you want to show, put those in now. I think we're gonna take a break from painting. We're gonna go look at people's stuff, because I want to make sure we do that. Because I put out a call for that last Wednesday, and because of my having to change my tire and being emotionally exhausted on Friday, I just decided not to stream. So we didn't do it then. So we'll do it now. Let's see. Let me go to works in progress. Let me scoot back. That was on Tuesday. Gonna go through our works in progress first. Let's see. Let me open a bunch of these up here. Yeah, there's a striking scorpion. Scorpion. All right, we're gonna go through the works in progress first. But I hate to raid and dash. I got some after 3 things to do and take care of in bed for work. It was a pleasure to meet you. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your night. Well, let's go take a look at these works in progress, and then we'll go into our completed. Whoops, that's not what I wanted. So this is from Godot. This is a brutal emissary. That's pretty cool. Love the gibbet cage, the giant coffin that's bound up and it's got steel banding around it. Obviously something's not getting out. Giant sword. That's a very cool model. I don't know what this is from. Is this no, this is Malifaux. I'm pretty sure this is a Malifaux mini. A lot of the new edition of Malifaux's got a lot of new minis. But that's really cool. We've got our Ashen, our Brutal Emissary, and then what looks like is this a judge? Brutal Effigy. Good little terrible guy. Yeah, Brutal Effigy. These used to have their completely different model, but this is pretty cool. He's got his 6-shooter in his holster. Love the red. Very, very mysterious stranger. You can kind of hear the good, the bad, and the ugly soundtrack going on as he's just there. He's like, I'm your Huckleberry. We're mixing movies here. We're mixing movies. It's got the shoot out of the OK Corral and the good, the bad, and the ugly. But it's got a really, really cool attitude to this. That's awesome. Hey, here's another thing. He's been working on a lot of conversions of making monster minis out of a lot of different stuff, so it looks like we've probably got some foam and some other plastic pieces and a lot of use of beads to make these really flexible like old style robo arms. That looks really cool. And those look like some kind of medical cap or something. A lot of reusing, a lot of scratch building goodness here. That's a big long arm. And here, did some more painting for Godot. Don't know if these are also Malifaux or for something else. These almost look like board game minis, but the bases look like Malifaux. But those look cool. This guy's adorable. The little moth, super cute. Little moth is super cute. And here we've got Kronos's Striking Scorpion for the free mini of the month with its tactical rock made of let's see, I think that's Wraith. I think that's made of Wraithbone. But this looks cool. I like the green. It's a good green for Striking Scorpion. It's got a cool pose. Got the details on the chain sword. Nice. Yeah, picking out the details. Very nice. It's a good first mini. That's a good first mini. Very nice. Okay, so we did, those are all the works in progress. Let us pop into completed projects. And we want to make sure we grab stuff that's been done more recently. Okay, so we just got a couple here. Ooh, that looks cool. Ash and Jedi, this looks really cool. Alright, so here is a paint job that Godu's doing. Been trying to replicate a certain piece of artwork for the skin tone here. He's worked a lot of like blush and red in here to try and make it look as fleshy and creepy as possible, and doing a pretty good job. That is very fleshy, very gross. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Yeah, the TMM on that brutal effigy, or not the brutal effigy, the first one, it looks really nice. Yeah, absolutely. Good, and here we go. Ashen, I believe this is yours. Love this purple. Love the purple, love the pink, love the like, kind of the fuchsia almost colors you've got going in here. You're doing almost a it's almost a monochrome, like everything is purple, so it's almost a monochrome. Obviously there's some other colors in here too, but I really like the look of this. You've got a really nice, deep, rich purples and pinks and fuchsias here. That looks really cool. I like this. Can you tell us anything about your Space Marine chapter? Yeah, look at the highlighting here on the cloak. There's a gap. There's a gap. Oh no! That's all right. Sprue goo would fix that. But it's still loving how saturated this purple is. Just it's beautiful. I like the saturated purple with the desaturated kind of dull gold, and the desaturated gold down here. Because gold and purple go together really, really well, right? But if they're both super saturated, it can be incredibly visually striking, and it could end up being kind of distracting. So doing kind of a desaturated gold, a more dull, a more dull looking gold versus the very saturated purple. I like that. I think that looks really cool. It keeps the color complexity there, but it prevents your eyes from being completely overwhelmed by all these hyper saturated colors. I like that a lot. And silver in here, the silver's going well with that as well. You've got the leather for the bolter. Yeah, this looks awesome. I'm a fan of this. I'm a fan of this paint scheme. Oh, we've got two more people showing some stuff up here. Let's take a look at those. Thank y'all for sharing. Ah, these are cool. All right. So this is from the ever famous and wonderfully named Baby Stapler. This is a Dark Oath Chieftain on horse or on mount. The Dark Oath have some fantastic models, and this is one heck of a tactical rock. I mean, this is just a stage right here. I love this. I love this piece here. Really like everything else here. He's got a crazy face mask. Looks very like a Morton Joe. But I love the Dark Oath models. I think the Dark Oath models are some of the best Chaos models, best Chaos Mortal models they've got. They're very Conan the Barbarian, very just very, very Death Clock kind of Grognar the Barbarian type of look. I love them. I think they're great. This looks awesome. I love how you've got different colors in here for the leather. You've got some desaturated reds and yellows, so they fit in with the more desaturated look of everything else. They're not overly distracting. I really like how punchy this is. I really like how punchy and saturated this is. It definitely brings attention to it. And the other runes up here as well. That's awesome. And the rune down there. Here's the other side. Yeah, it's a lower face mask. Got the other runes in nice and punchy red. I like how consistent that is. Desiccated skulls. Love how desaturated everything else is. Love the weathering on the front armor there. The not just, they don't just have iron or steel horseshoes. They've got an iron hoof, like an iron, like full on shoe for the horse. That's awesome. I like the colors down here in the rock. That's definitely giving the rock a lot more visual interest. So it's not just like boring gray, right? Rocks can be all kinds of different colors, and you can add all kinds of different colors to it. Was this pigment or paint that was used for this color here? Either way, it looks really good. I like it. And then PLB Miniatures shared these scouts. These Imperial Fist scouts. These look awesome. Love how saturated the colors are. I love how high contrast they are. Part of that's certainly the lighting that they're under. There's some pretty strong lighting, but they've got great lava bases down here. Nice dynamic poses. I'm pretty sure these are the Primaris scouts, the newer scout kit. They look really nice. Love the chipping and how drab the Aquila is on their chest. It's that drab red. And love the dark red into the brighter red with the bright red highlights. These look great. Really like them. They look very nice. You see, I'm not missing it. Yeah, it is a really good Imperial Fist yellow. It's a fun mini. Thanks for checking it out. All acrylics with brush, some inks. Nice, baby stapler. Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's see. Let me see here. There's a gap. This is mini number 6. Kind of been experimenting with the colors. Okay, gotcha, Ashen. Purple is your favorite color, and Black Templar is not. You like the Black Templars, but black felt boring, and dark purple as an alternative just felt good. That's awesome. Immortan Joe makes me think of how hard a Mad Max Miniatures game would go. The vehicles would go crazy. That would be pretty cool. So now I'm just doing an Obsidian Templar paint scheme. I'm rather new to 40k lore-wise, though. No, that's awesome, Ashen. That's fantastic. Don't ever feel bad or feel awkward about doing your own paint scheme or your own chapter. That is a core part. That is a core part of the hobby. The only place that you might legitimately get, and I don't mean legitimate as in their complaint is legitimate. I mean the only place that it might be the most likely that you get some pushback on something custom is if you're playing 30k. Because 30k is historical wargaming in the 40k world, because the sides are pretty well defined. In 40k, you've got all the freedom you want. In 30k, you can do what you want, but you might get some flack for not doing like one of the established legions, or not having a good reason for not doing an established legion. That's the only place I can really imagine you might get some flack for doing your own thing. But in 40k, you can do whatever you want. That's why 2 of the Primarchs don't exist. That's why they were removed from the They weren't included in the lore because Games Workshop wanted it a way for people to have their own armies, stories for their Space Marines and other things like that. So, yeah, doing your own thing is perfectly okay. Don't worry about the lore. But that looks great. Let's see. Let me switch back to the painting here real quick so I can police some of these pictures up here, so they're not taking up all of my tabs. I don't know about y'all, but I tend to not have tons of tabs open. I keep the tabs that I have open, I keep them very under control. I don't have 50,000 tabs open. I was like, if I'm not using it, I'm closing it. And when I shut the computer down, I close all the tabs. I don't keep them going. Yeah, PLB, how did you get that yellow? What was your process? Is that a contrast or is that actual just full-on acrylics? What was your process for that yellow? If I have more than 3 tabs open on a browser, I want to throw up. Okay, I don't have that much of a physical reaction, but yeah, I've definitely had tons of tabs open, but they don't stay open, and I don't just leave them there. I legitimately shut my browser down, and all those tabs go away, or I close all the tabs and open up a new set. But yeah, I definitely don't have that much of a physical reaction to having that many tabs open. I think that if that's physically what's happening, you might need to you might have some OCD tendencies that might need some looking at, because that is not an expected physical reaction to something digital like that. But it also isn't that big of a deal. As long as it's not debilitating. Walk into the office someday and see somebody with 5 tabs open. Mary, what are you doing? That'd be a problem. I'm trying to figure out how to make my swords have a lightning kind of glow, and it's challenging. Yeah, it is. Especially if you're not using an airbrush. Getting like actual glow effects that have kind of like a soft radiance to them is very difficult, because you basically have to use either really thin layers, or you have to glaze, or you have to airbrush it. There are ways to do it. It's just a lot of work, especially if you're trying to do the glow effect. Doing just a straight up lightning effect on a power sword, that's not as hard. It's getting the glow. That's the hard bit. Started with magenta, contrast Imperial Fist, and highlight up with acrylics. Okay, gotcha. Well, it's a beautiful, beautiful yellow. I swear I used the Imperial Fist contrast on something, but I can't remember what. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so what we're gonna do... I need to brainstorm a little bit. So these are what I use to start my plinths out. I just went on Amazon and ordered like a bag of 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch pine cubes. And I did the same with some 2-inch pine cubes for larger plinths. And so these are the base of the plinths that I've been using. These are the base shape. And then that's the base shape that this is under, right? So this is the cube there, and then I built all this up on top of it. I did the same thing with this plinth here that I'm working on. I used a texture roller on the top of that, and then carved in the wood and the texture to get like some craters and stuff going on. And when this is done, the my Death Watch marine will be on top of that. I just got to figure out. I got to finish this paint job. What texture roller is that? It is the Green Stuff World Tau texture roller. Now, there are other texture rollers you can get on, like you can 3D print them and stuff like that, but almost there's no other company right now that does these acrylic texture rollers. Everything else is 3D printed. And I've been talking to Elrex Hobbies about looking into doing this, and I haven't had any updates. I know Steve from there. He's the boss there, and made this suggestion because I personally don't like buying from Green Stuff World, so I try to avoid it. But they're the only ones that do texture rollers right now, and so I've been buying like used, if I can. I'm not a massive fan of some of Green Stuff World's. I don't mind them relabeling products for hobby stuff, because that's what everybody does. That I get that I don't have a problem with. Some of their hyper anti-competitive behaviors and business practices turned my stomach on them. Yeah, so the way you can get rid of those tool marks is once you do the texture on, get a damp finger and then rub it over that, and you'll get rid of those tool marks. But yeah, those same things happen whether they're 3D printed or whether it's the CNC cut acrylic. You're gonna get those lines. So you kind of have to very lightly run your finger, a damp finger, over the raised portions of the textures, and to wipe away that line texture. But yeah, this is the Tau one. It looks pretty good. You can see that I've been like putting battle damage and stuff on it, because what I want is this Space Marine Infiltrator just advancing here, and then we'll have things like some glow effects in here, some like from the explosion, and I need to get some more debris and put that around here as well a little bit. But we've got other craters and the like, just to give it some personality, that there's like an ongoing assault there. But what I need to decide now is what kind of plinth or base are we going to have her on, because she comes with this here, her own highly tactical rock. But I don't really want to use this. I want to use something custom, and then I can use this for something else. But I want, she's got that pose, so I need to support that as well. So thinking this is probably going to be the piece of wood that we use, and I need to figure out what type of scene is she going to be on, because if she's going to be like standing if she's going to be standing forward, then I could do like a backdrop, right? I could have like a stone wall behind her, or I could just have like a small like backdrop canvas behind her. If I have her standing backwards then I could, or if I have her standing to the back a little bit, then I could carve all this down and then have like, I don't know, the front of a castle wall that's been crumbled or something like that down here. I could use my Dremel to carve into this, and just have her standing upon like a giant rubble pile of a fortress wall or something. There's just a lot of different options, and I really need to I need to decide what I want to do for her. So if anybody has any suggestions, or if anybody has any art of like an evil evil warrior lord or male or female, go ahead and shoot those over to me. I tried Googling that and I got nothing but AI results, and I don't want to use those. They looked good, but they weren't from a person. I want to see ideas that came from people and their art, not AI. And when I just Googled evil female warrior, I got nothing but AI. So I need to start trolling like DeviantArt and other places to see if I can find something person made. But for this, we've got the, I didn't cut into the brick at all. I took actual pieces of slate, like actual slate stone, and fit them in here like a puzzle, and then filled the gaps in with putty, and then carved into the putty to replicate the slate there. And so this is all just built up on top of one of these rather than cut into it. And he's got some height to him, so I might do that again. It's probably going to be kind of a mixture, but I need to decide on what I want to do for her. And I'm not going to be putting in the Death Watch for Golden Demon because you can only do one, 40k single. So I'm going to do him as 40k single, the Votan, and then her as either Age of Sigmar single, or ideally she would be Old World single miniature. I think that'll probably be a separate category, but we'll see. And then maybe I need to think about Age of Sigmar, but I also should look at other painting competitions. Oh no. I just need to go outside for basing stuff more often. Yeah, going outside is great for basing stuff. Absolutely. Alright, we got about 1 minute before ads start again. We'll take a quick break here, and I'm just kind of rambling. I'm rambling at this point, so we'll probably start working on something like this for the Death Watch, because I want to take a break from this for now. I've been staring at it quite a bit. There's more on the back that needs to be done. There's a lot of defining and highlighting that needs to happen on the back, so that is definitely what we'll be working on pretty soon. But right now I kind of want to do some stuff with this just to give my brain a little bit of a break from what we were doing. There's that. There's the blue-black. That's dark blue. Dark gray blue. You see, I also spent part of the weekend painting the tops of my paint pots, so I can see what colors they are without having to pull them all out. Resin Beast is pretty limited at the moment. It's Creature Caster in My Work Studios. Yeah, I think I've got I think at least one My Work Studios mini that I can do, or that I could just put in. I've got one that I completed, but it wasn't painted for a competition at all, so I don't think it'll be even close. I did just order a piece, collector's, like a limited edition piece from Mindworks Studios. I'm looking forward to that coming. Hoping that'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be pretty challenging. Alright, ads have started. We're going to go ahead and take a break here. Which one? Let's see if I can find the name of it again. I picked up this. The Plucker Deluxe Edition. Yeah, ads. Yeah, we'll take a look at this once we're back from ads. So we'll be right back, everybody. All right, we're back. Well, let's go back to the screen share. So this is what I've ordered. The Plucker. Now, I don't know a whole lot about any of the mythology behind it. I'm going to be looking into it, but I thought it looked incredible. It is amazing. It is just utterly beautiful. The non-deluxe version. Give me a moment. Okay, there we go. This is the non-deluxe version. This is the straight up version. It's 500 copies of this. There are 200 copies of the other one that I got. There are 500 copies of this one. It's based off of some of Brahms' artwork, which I love. I love Brahm. His art has been amazing. His art has been influential to me since some of the first RPG books that I picked up was fully full of Brahm artwork. That was my first kind of exposure to his style, and I've been in love with it since. In just terms of just appreciating the color palette and style and everything. I haven't painted that way, but this is based around his stuff too. So this is the no. Well, okay. So this is $90 is for the regular version. The deluxe version, $140. And there were only 200 copies of this. And because of this email that was sent out, I was able to pick this up for $90. I was very, very fortunate. I don't know why they sent me the email, but they sent me the email. So I was like, yes, I want that one. And they've got more. They've got more coming out too. This looks amazing. This is also limited. They just have incredible work. This is an incredible piece that I'm just not interested in painting at all, but this looks amazing. Oop. Don't want to violate TOS. Yeah, 420 is not bad for something that's so limited and it is so big. Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't mind that too bad at all. I think I need to change my break screen for TikTok because it mentions the purple platform, the screenshot that I put up on TikTok. And I think TikTok can read that. Because as soon as I go on break, no one new comes in. Almost no one new comes into the live on TikTok. I think I need to change that. Just trying to see what patterns happen with TikTok, because TikTok live is hard. It's hard to figure out how to get people to hang out and stay and have a good time. It's just not the typical hanging out for a long time on TikTok is not the typical behavior pattern for it. So nothing you guys need to worry about. I'm just thinking out loud. Now, this reflection that I'm working on is going to be covered up by the backpack. But the reason I'm working on this reflection, at least in a rough sense, is because I want to see, like, I want to make sure I understand where that reflection is going to be on the backpack, just so that I get the angle right. That's really all I'm trying to do here. I had this from Mindwork. Ooh, what you got from Mindwork? Ooh, Jody Mirror. Oh, That's beautiful. That's gorgeous. Look at that. That sword, the dagger, the armor, the giant rings. That's a beautiful piece. I don't think I would be interested in painting this, but I can see it is objectively gorgeous, and whoever paints this, they're gonna have a hard time not making it absolutely gorgeous. I don't know if this appeals to me. In such a point that I would want to spend dozens and hundreds of hours painting it, which I think I would feel like I needed to do. But it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. I don't know if I am also, yeah. Oh yeah, here. Here's some of the concept art for it. Drop this as the backdrop in behind that. Oh my god. That could be crazy. This just horribly gnarled cherry tree with the blossoms over here. All this highly reflected. Look how glossy this armor looks. Look at that, how sharp those highlights are. This is very glossy armor. And so is the ring and everything. I don't think I'd want to paint this to be this dark. I do the background. I could, do the background like this, but I'd want more detail with the sword. I wouldn't want everything to be in so much negative space. This is gorgeous the way it is right now, but for a miniature, I'd want more. I feel like I need more definition in order for it to look like it's been painted, right? It's beautiful. It is absolutely gorgeous. That's the original artwork? That makes sense. Why did I click that? Yeah, that's beautiful. From Shadow is the name of that piece. Well, this blade is going to be steel. We're going to make sure we're base coating it as well. Now I think what I'm going to do is just the cutting blade, just the cutting edge is going to be reflective. Over here we're going to make it like a matte black. Just so that it's like it's more commando and less reflective. Yeah, too dark to look good on a miniature. Yeah, the darkness works really well as long as you are adding in some additional definition. Because if you left that sword, that long sword, just black the way it is in the artwork, it would look like it's just primed. It would look completely unfinished, and I don't think that would do anybody the piece any favors at all. Finally off work. Hooray! Celebrate good times come. Dun, dun, dun. Alright, so we're going to map out a little bit of some of the highlight for this non-metallic metal here. And this layer here, I want this to be big enough to fit the next highlights inside it. So we're going to make sure that's large enough. And then we're going to run an edge highlight up this side of the blade. There. That's already looking reflective, isn't it? Look at that. So we're going to do a mixture of our gray blue and our blue white. Trying to get something in between the two colors because this makes the blends faster. A little bit more white, I think. A little too much white. Has anybody watched any of the first two episodes of Star Trek Academy? I just watched those last night, and I'm interested what anybody else thinks. If nobody's watched it, that's fine. I was just curious what anybody else thinks, because apparently there's a lot of hullabaloo about it. No thoughts, huh? Okay. Nobody's watched Star Trek Academy. One Trek series I have not watched yet, any of, is the Christopher Pike one. I can't remember the name of it. I haven't watched a bit of it. I want to. I'm probably going to now that I've started Academy, but I haven't watched any of it. What is it? It's not Brave New World. That's Huxley. That is not Star Trek. Okay, let's get into our kind of final highlight color here. Sorry, I was changing. So I'm not a Star Trek guy, but my friend is. He hates all new Trek, anything after Next Generation. He called Academy surprisingly watchable. Well, good. I'm glad he enjoys it, but I completely disagree with him after Next Generation. DS9 is possibly one of the best Star Trek series that it was ever made. In some ways, better than Next Generation. Because of just the character development, I think was a lot more interesting in a lot of ways. Next Generation was definitely a product of its time in terms of how characters were developed and how stories were told. DS9 was the first Star Trek that had kind of a serialized rather than an episodic set of stories, especially with the Dominion War. But I'm glad he liked it. There's a lot of people that really don't like Academy, and more power to them. If they don't like it, they don't like it. I think I just disagree with them. I really enjoyed it. I actually cried during the first episode because one of the characters who I grew up with, and I have a lot of really, really enjoyed in one of the other shows, is also a main character in Star Trek Academy. And I'm not going to tell who it is, because I loved the surprise, and I don't want to rob that from someone else. But I cried because this person is a main character in Academy, so I get to enjoy watching him and watching his character again, which I'm so incredibly excited about. Yeah, and that's it's fine, but when I hear new Trek, I'm thinking Star Trek Into Darkness. The Chris Pine, I think it is the actor who played Kirk in those newer movies, and Discovery and stuff like that. Like Deep Space Nine and Voyager are not new Trek by most people's definition, but if he considers everything after Next Generation new Trek, again, that's fine. There's just a difference in terminology. But it'd be interesting to hear what he thinks of DS9 and why he's not a big fan of it. And there are plenty of people who don't like all of them, and that's fine. They're just wrong. I'm kidding. I'm glad I am very glad that he enjoyed it. Also keep in mind that the Starfleet Academy is 800 years into the future. So they pushed the storyline well forward to a point where they're rebuilding after a galactic sized almost apocalypse. So this is there's a lot of rebuilding to do, but we don't know a lot about this event that happened, other than it nearly destroyed the Federation and basically destroyed Starfleet. Its consequences did. That's been interesting. Yeah, I like that. That knife. That looks nice and shiny. Okay. Arm. Need to work on the arm. So this whole arm is supposed to be silver, right? Because that's the Death Guard. They've got one arm that's black. I mean, they're mostly black, and then the one arm that is silver, steel, whatever you want to call it. Need to get in there. Start working on that. Get the thumb. One thing that's nice about this is there's a bunch of different shapes that make all this up. However, they tend to be fairly well separated from one another, fairly distinct. So I don't have to worry as much about them making really complex shapes. There, where one blends into another. That's when things start getting really weird. When one shape just kind of smoothly blends into a completely different shape, and it's figuring out, okay, how do you paint the light on that transition? What is that transition doing? What does the light look like on that? That's a pain. That's one of the problems I'm having with the antlers on the Votan model. Because those antlers smoothly transit between one shape and a completely different shape, and it's getting it's defining the light and how the light would reflect off of each of those through that transition is the thing that's driving me crazy with that. I broke the antenna off that guy by accident. Actually, most of my Deathwatch, I've actually broken the antenna off. They're pretty delicate. They're pretty delicate little antennas. I'm pretty pleased that I have yet to do that. But who knows? I might, now that you've mentioned it. You may have cursed me, Count Zacula. You may have cursed me. Might strip and redo my Death Watch at this point, though. I'm not super pleased with them. If I do, I'll drill and replace them with like a bit of paperclip or something. Yeah. No, that's a good fix for stuff like that. In fact, you could also find stuff like some kind of like nylon wire or nylon, stiff nylon or something similar to use. Like thick brush bristles or something. You could use those. You could potentially use those as well, and those might give you some flex to them while also, making them not a stabbing concern. It's what I did for the aerials on my battle mechs. I used some stiff nylon brush bristles. But that's just one option. I also might not redo them though, because I'm not overly interested in the models anyway. I'm just kind of painting them because they gave me Tomb World box and I have them, so I might as well. Yeah, it makes sense. That also makes sense. I mean, how dare you? Blah, 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 blah. How dare? And to do some non-metallic metal on the inquisitorial symbol here on his chest, which is actually the symbol of the sigillite during the heresy and during the Great Crusade. This was actually Malcador's symbol. I'm not sure why it was an eye. I may have missed that part of the Horus heresy. Because, I mean, for the Inquisition, it makes sense for it to be an eye because it's Inquisition, right? But for the sigillite, who was not the Inquisition, and the Inquisition didn't even exist.
Have a magical disease called attention deficit disorder.
This is true.
It makes you a very unique wizard.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, it will not make you suitable for the Muggle world.
Is that what's wrong?
They expect you to show up on time and remember small details.
Ugh, I hate that.
Sometimes I know that's a struggle.
It is. It is. It is a struggle. It is a struggle. Thank you for reminding me of how ill-suited I am for the Muggle world. Appreciate it. Evening. This looks great, by the way. Thank you. Thank you, Flying Ryan. Yeah, we're just working on this Death Watch Marine because I wanted to break from the. This is the Golden Demon project. This is what I submitted last year, and we're refining it for this year. So there's still a lot more work to do on him, but I've been working on him for a bit, so I wanted to work on something else, and I needed to do more work on the Death Watch to get him closer and closer. So we've been working on the non-metallic for the arm and shoulder. Still got to do the gold. Doing the non-metallic for the sigillite symbol here. Also did the non-metallic for the knife, the combat blade down here. So still got plenty more to do, but I am thoroughly enjoying this model. He's a lot of fun. I like the way he's looking. I'm finding that that I really like the models I'm painting if I spend an inordinate amount of time painting them. If I don't and I just paint them for tabletop quality, I don't like them as much. They're good enough for the tabletop, but I don't like them as much. But these, the ones that I spend hours and hours and hours and hours on, I end up really enjoying them. One show I think would be incredible, by the way, is a cop show set in the HP world. Basically, there's a squib who gets paired with a muggle cop to try and break a spat of murders being committed against muggles and wizards, and they have to work together to solve it, but neither of them have magic. I think that sounds awesome. Think you can understand that? Yeah. I think that cop show sounds fantastic. What are some names for that show? Let's see. Can we come up with some names? I'm not huge into the Harry Potter world, so I'm not going to be able to be too creative here. It's like magical victims unit. Not much of a Harry Potter fan either. Yeah, I don't think we're going to be super helpful. But yeah, a name for the show would be cool. A name for the show would be awesome. I'm just not going to be super useful for that, unfortunately. Magical Victims Unit. Wand in Order. Done. Wand in Order. Muggle and Squib. Muggle and Squib, that works too. Absolutely. We've got a couple working titles. These are good. We can stop. We found it. We found him. It's going to be one or the other. You don't keep looking for your wallet after you find it. That's true. That's true. We hit gold. We're good. Sometimes I do just in case. Sometimes I do just in case I find a secret second wallet with secret money. Genius. See, I like the way you think, Count Zacula. Always the optimist. Optimism. Right, I was just hopping over from our bed, but having an awesome night. I'm going to leave a lurk. Hey, thank you, Flying Ryan. I appreciate that. Have a wonderful night. Hasn't happened yet, but maybe one day. Hey, who knows? Who knows? It just might. Oh. Let's see. And we just got a little bit of definition on the magnocular thingies there, because I didn't want them to be blank, but I think keeping them black for tactical purposes makes more sense. Arctic, thank you so much for updating your subscription, your membership here at the library. Another month, another sub to the Wizard of Paintieri. Thank you so much for 17 months. Let's get out your library card, and then we'll start wrapping up here, I think. I hope you've been well. How have you been doing? What have you been up to? All right, Arctic, here is your library card. Let's get you your stamp for 17 months. Boom, look at that. Look at that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. I've been doing okay, just some decompressing after the holidays. Gotta probably get back to the Mark IV Cricks and some of my word bears sooner or later. Nice. That's awesome. I keep looking at the Cephalax stuff for Mark IV. I'm not going to play Mark IV, but I have some of the models for Crix and Cephalax, and man, I really want to spend time painting those. I just don't know when I'm going to have time to do it. I usually, okay, so it kind of depends. It kind of depends, Count Zacula. It depends on the official scheme. It also depends on if I'm not doing an official scheme, and it depends on the color. because I do tend to want it to be a complementary or a contrasting color, not red all the time, because I think that I don't like the way that looks all the time. But I do the red for the Rainbow Warriors because it works really well with the blue, and I do kind of an orangier like fiery red, so it looks kind of like it's glowy. But this is a big example of what I do for the Rainbow Warriors on a smaller scale. But I like that because it looks good on blue. They are an Ultramarine / Loyalist Thousand Sun successor in my headcanon. So, you know, I go with the red. This guy I'm going with red just because I wanted that hot spot there. I wanted that. Also, we've got the red here. We've got some warmth, so I wanted similar colors to kind of guide the eye up into the face a little bit more. If I didn't care about that, I would have gone with like a different color here. But one of the reasons I did red is because the casing is red, as Deathwatch has. I use a warm leather for this, and everything else is cold. It's all blue, or it's an icy type colors. So I wanted a spot of red there as well. I like red on certain schemes, but not all. I'm a big orange lenses for salamanders. Yeah, they're fiery, right? I like that. I think that looks good. Yeah, orange on salamanders I think makes sense because it's nice and fiery. I appreciate you sharing your craft with all of us. Hey, thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. I appreciate you. Blue lenses for Imperial Fist is so good. Yeah? I don't know if I've seen blue lenses. I think I've seen for Imperial Fist, I've seen usually green, which also looks good, but blue lenses could be absolute fire. I could absolutely see that looking incredible on all that yellow. Saw some the other day. I'll have to try and find it. Yeah, that'd be great. Love to see that. So I think that could look amazing.
A wizard is never late, Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
Precisely indeed. Duff. How are you doing, buddy? Thank you so much for the raid. How's it going? Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Useless Wizard, otherwise known as Ryan. We are working on a couple different projects. I'm taking a quick break, a break for the night on my Golden Demon project. So this is the miniature I'm going to be submitting for Golden Demon again. I submitted this last year and got a pen. This year I'm trying to refine it more, and we've still got a long way to go to really refine this to the point that I think it needs to be. And then we'll be submitting that again at Adepticon. This is a Deathwatch Marine that I'm working on as just kind of a relaxation from that. And we're having some good time. We're having a great time. Dark Depot.
Is never late, Frodo Baggins.
I am painting a marine. Yes,
early.
indeed.
He arrives
Precisely what he means to. Another raid. Ghoul Studio. Holy crap. Thank you, everybody. Welcome on in. Duff, thank you for the raid. Ghoul Studio, thank you for the raid. How's it going? I guess I'll go a little bit longer. I guess we'll go a little bit longer here. Let me go ahead and snooze my ads here. Snooze ad. Get us a nice 10 minutes before ads. And I'll snooze it again. This is what we're working on tonight. Welcome in, everybody. If you've not been here before, my name is Ryan. I'm the Useless Wizard. Welcome to the Great Library of Magic. I was a wizard teaching in the School of Magic, and they kicked me out because I'm a useless wizard. So now I'm down here in the Great Library. We're here in my study. You can hear the fire and all the pages rustling out in the magical library out there. I hope you are having a wonderful night. We hang out here, paint minis, talk about nerdy stuff, and really just focus on enjoying the hobby and becoming better painters. And that's the kind of the goal. So we're working on some Golden Demon stuff. This is the current Golden Demon project. We're refining this so that we can resubmit it. There's still a lot more to do on him, refining a lot more areas that weren't done very well last time. And we're just taking a break.
Welcome to the Great Library.
So thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Yes, useful, right? It's a marketing thing. It's trying to be ironic. Ghoul, what were you working on tonight? Well, now that I look, I came in on Duff's and Ghoul's came in on Duff and Ghoul's raid. Well, welcome in, Michael. Hope you're doing well. Yes, one of the most useful wizards. I appreciate that, Ghoul. I appreciate that. What were y'all working on? Duff, what were you working on? Ghoul, what were you working on? I have to ask both of you since both of you came in at roughly the same time. And I know you guys have after stream stuff that you got to do. We all have to do some self-care after stream, so I want to get that. Know what you're doing. And that way you can get off and doing your own thing. Adult White Dragon for the D20 cruise. Oh, that's awesome. Very cool, Duff. Working on the Prince of Voradai Zombie Dragon for Golden Demon here. Yes, I remember you working on that. Dude, the saddle on that looked incredible. Beautiful, beautiful work. So like for those of you not seen it, Ghoul Studio, the non-metallic metal that Ghoul does is like goals. Is absolute goals. The standard of painting that Ghoul does is absolute goals as well. Definitely someone I look up to and watch from afar. Really, really good painter. And Duff is his Marines are crazy. They're so good. He's so great at the weathering and nice, clean paint jobs that have also got awards. So just really, really, two really, really good painters who I think if you're not following, if you're not checking them out, you absolutely should be. Because both of them have levels of painting that are worthy of looking up to and worthy of being goals. I know I'm kind of glazing you guys a little hard, but I'm just trying to be honest. Both of you have stuff that you do that I cannot wait till I get to that point and have that kind of control. I just got paint all over my leather. Okay, got that cleaned up. Checks in the mail. Yes. Loving the non-metallic metal and the black armor. Thanks. Appreciate that. Struggle so hard on that saddle. It looks amazing, man. It looks amazing. Yeah. So we're doing non-metallic metal for obviously the Death Guard shoulder pad and other areas that are metallic, like the gun. What I was trying to figure out, and I think I worked pretty well, but maybe it's a little too sharp, is I was trying to do glossy armor for the black rather than full-on non-metallic metal, right? Trying to do more glossy armor for the black, which I think we hit fairly well. because the highlights are so narrow that but they're not as intense. So make it look more like latex, right? Like glossy latex, but not as bright of highlights as the actual metallics, because this is glossy. It's supposed to read as glossy, but not as highly reflective as metal. So I'm trying to strike the balance there. In fact, one of the most interesting things of this is all of the reflections on the black armor and all the reflections on the metal. They're all done with the exact same colors. I have not changed colors. They're all pro acryl. Where do they go? Where did I put them? They're all pro acryl, blue, black, gray, blue, and blue, white, or white, blue. And the only difference is the amount of them and the ratios that we're applying them. I did that tonight, dipped his white wing into yellow green on my palette. Yeah. Oh. Have you decided what chapter this other pauldron's going to be? I haven't counted. We're probably going to make that a vote, either in the Discord or on stream. But I wanted to finish up some other stuff first. And then I have a couple of options, either raptors or right now raptors or Krakenborn or dark krakens. There's a couple more that I want to investigate. I want to find ones that deal more in more like infiltration type of warfare. And some that are not well known. Like, I don't want Raven Guard. He could be Raven Guard, but I've got plenty of other Death Watch models that are dedicated to Raven Guard. I want him to be something like a sub-chapter that people or a successor chapter people barely ever hear about. Yeah, Dark Kraken would go hard, right? What colors do you use for your non-metallic? Yeah, for the non-metallic, I use... for the steel, I use blue, black, and then do I have... Here's the... So I use blue, black, and then gray, blue, and then white, blue. I like blue steel. I think blue steel, it looks more like steel to me, whereas silver looks more like gray to me. Silver working into yellowish highlights looks more like silver to me. Blue steel looks like blue to me, and so that just works better for me. Thank you. There's a lot of layering, a lot of blending, a lot of glazing, but if you look at this far away, I mean, that looks fairly well blended, right?
A wizard is never...
Oh my god.
Frodo Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives...
Precisely what he means to. Chip Mercury, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome on in. How's it going? I hope your stream went well. But if we look in here, you can see that it's not quite smoothly blended. Visually it looks smoothly blended because our eyes do a lot of like optical blending until we get up close to stuff. But this is not, there's a lot of optical illusion, a lot of visual trickery done with this, and that's kind of the trick behind it. But thank you. I very much appreciate it. I'm really enjoying the way this is ending up. I really like this model. Hello there, nice looking non-metallic metal. Hey, thank you so much. What were you doing today? What were you working on? Painting that squid thing for them will be tough, but worth it if you're gonna freehand it. Yeah, I think it could certainly be worth doing this squid thing. That'll be really not easy, but it'll be interesting. What I'll have to do is practice a little bit off the model and break it down into blocky geometric shapes, and then paint in the gaps in between the in between stuff, and do it that way. Let's get this. Was working on Lamenters. So many checkers. Oh, Lamenters are awesome. I'm looking forward to doing a death watch with Lamenters checkers, and yeah, those are going to be rough. But they're going to look amazing. What kind of were you doing? Just like one Lamenter? Were you doing a squad of them? What project was this for? Okay, so we got this guy. Let's set him down. What do I need to do on this? I'm going to snooze one more time so we get another 10 minutes before ads. So we've been working on the front of this a whole lot. Front of the armor. And I think what I need to do is work on the back. Because there are plenty of areas that just don't have enough definition right now. Especially edge highlighting, things like that. So I think that's going to be our next kind of step is working up some of this stuff, it to be brighter, and so we have more and more definition between the different shapes. Because that was one of the big pieces of feedback that I got from Duff and Dan Dougal, good buddy, another good buddy, is there just wasn't enough visual refinement in a lot of these spots. Not enough visual separation. So pushing the highlights in certain areas more is going to help this read more and read as a higher quality paint job, because it's going to be a higher quality paint job. But just, really working on that and trying to get more and more definition, because I don't think I'm gonna get any kind of like golden demon or anything here, but I'd like to get another notable pin that would let me know that I am continuing to go in the right direction, or even like a finalist thing is like, hey, this was actually in consideration. I don't think it'd actually win anything, but getting in consideration would be pretty cool. It'd be another nice step up. But also just the practice. It's the practice. It's the intentionality. Don't say that's beautiful work. You never know. You do never know. You were absolutely correct. This is for my army. Just finished the shoulders for my death company. Oh, that's awesome, Chip. Dude, Lamenter Death Company is so sad. It's such a sad face story. Wow, we're getting raids all over the place. Precisely what it means to. Faye Story, thank you so much for the raid. 4th night raid of the night. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much. How was your stream? What were you working on? What were you doing? This is crazy. I very much appreciate you coming in here and bringing all of your people over here, your community. Welcome on in, everybody. My name is Useless Wizard. I am the Wizard of Useless Magic. That's the Useless Wizard. I was kicked out of the Wizard School of Magic for being a useless wizard, so they sent me down here to the Great Library, where I paint minis, watch over the magical library, help students, and take care of guests like yourself from getting lost and eaten up by a book mimic, as they are all over the place. We're working on some golden demon entries right now. Specifically this Votan called the Ancestor's Wrath. And we're just trying to refine a lot more. Bodacious, hey, Bodacious Pie, how are you doing? I was working on an Exocrid. I am good. Excellent. Exocrid's awesome. Is that for an army? Or are you just painting to have fun? Or is it for something else? Exocrines are cool models. I have not painted a lot of Tyranids. I've got some Gene Sealers I need to paint up for Lost Patrol, that old scout-based board game. that Games Workshop came out with a while ago. I have all of that, and I want to paint those gene sealers up as coconut crab pattern, you know, exoskeleton pattern, because I love that on Tyranids. I love the way the coconut crab pattern looks, but I just have not taken the time to sit down and paint those up yet. And those are really the only Tyranids I've got. I just haven't sat down to do those. All right, I'm finally home from work. Gonna go eat and stuff. Have a good night. Hey, Count, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your night. I'm gonna hop off here. Yummy looks amazing. Good luck with your paint job. Thank you, Chip Mercury. I really appreciate that. Have a wonderful night. It's for a friend. I would need another exocred for my army, but I can get one later. Okay, gotcha. Good night, all. Thanks. Hey, thanks for being here. Very cool, Faye. That's awesome. Well, I hope your stream went well. Sounds like you were working on something pretty cool. Hi. It's good to have you. Hey, thank you for the raid, Silver Shield, or thank you for the follow, Silver Shield. Welcome to the Great Library. Grab yourself a chair, join the discussion, or just sit back, relax, grab a book off the shelf, enjoy yourself. If you guys want to see what books members of the community have found while wandering the Great Library, you can hit !read in the chat. It does have a cooldown, but you can see what books members of the chat have found in their searches. And if you want to go out on a search within the Great Library, you can do !search, and you will wander out into the Great Library in search of lost tomes to return. And if you find one, you get to tell us the name, the author, and a little blurb about what the title is, and we will add it to the archive for other people to enjoy as well. Let's see, we got 2 minutes before ads. We'll go through the ads here, and then we'll go probably maybe another 10 minutes after the ads. The ads do run for 3 to 5 minutes, so we'll take a quick break there. I do recommend that you stand up, walk around, stretch, get some hydration. That's my plan, and then we'll go for another 10 to 15 minutes after that. I don't want to end right after you guys go through an ad, so we'll make sure that you've got some additional painting time afterwards. Marquis, you go searching, you find a shelf filled with a variety of sheet music in several formats. A small puppet in the form of a jester is propping up a line of books on one of the shelves. The puppet leaps to its tiny feet and a shrill voice erupts, "These are mine! Mine, I tell you! The lyrics of times long past are mine to guard from the greedy!" Wielding a small needle, the puppet springs at your face. Oh my. You should, It's a weird place. It's a weird place. There's little things. Make sure you don't get stabbed by that needle. That doesn't sound like fun. And what did you find in the archive? Potato. Potato. A guide to arcane pronunciation. You pet the puppet. Oh man. That is a brave choice since it's trying to stab you. But I am not one to question. If you wanna to pet the stabby puppet, I will not second guess you. It probably won't kill you. It's a tiny needle, so it's probably not deadly. All right, we've got about 4 seconds before ads are getting ready to start. get ready to stand up, walk around, get yourself some hydration, use the restroom, and then we'll be back for some more painting for a few more minutes. And while the ads are going, I am going to stop, so you're not going to miss anything. We do take that break. Alright. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. Thank you all for hanging out. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for the raids. We'll see you in just a few moments. All right, we're back. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I very much appreciate still being here. Hope you had a nice hydration session. Let's get that. And then, get the booty cheeks. A little bit more highlighted, a little bit more defined. Just funny because he's an Ironkin, so he doesn't have an actual booty. He is an AI, an abominable intelligence per the Imperium. But he got a booty though. In fact, a lot of the Votan models got a booty. They've got individual armor panels for their butt cheeks, so they all look like they got that ass. Excuse my vulgarity. But they all look like they got that ass. Which is hysterical to me. And by hysterical, I'm using hyperbole for it makes me blow air out of my nose harder than normal. That is the level of hilarity. Kind of like when you say LOL to a friend. Most likely you are just blowing air out of your nose a little harder than you normally do. And that's your LOL. Don't deny it. We all do it. We all know. It's okay to be honest. Yeah. Cake! Yeah, they got the cake. They're caked up. Trying to slowly intensify the highlights in a couple of these spots, because I want the edge highlights to reflect, obviously be reflecting light, right? But I also don't want it to be an incredibly stark difference in a lot of areas. Some of this I wanted to work up into that edge highlight and make more sense. Rather than just a sharp, boom, there's an edge there. There are definitely times where that is appropriate, and that will work, but it's not all everywhere, and I don't want it everywhere. So I'm going kind of silent because I'm trying to concentrate in it. Yeah, Space Dwarfs got that junk. They do indeed. They do indeed. Indeed, indeed. They got that junk in the charunk. Is that a fire crackling? It is a fire crackling. There's a couple different things happening. There's a fire crackling. There's a couple grandfather clocks ticking. There's people turning pages as they're studying for their magical exams. You know, it's a nice little study type of quiet, contemplative, relaxing library environment. Your volume may not be able to hear all of it, but there's definitely some grandfather clocks of various description and unspecified origin. All kinds of stuff. But yeah, it's the ambiance that I use instead of music for the stream, because I find music to be very relaxing and wonderful some of the time, neutral most of the time, and then just distracting and annoying the rest of the time. So I don't use magic. I don't use magic. Obviously, I don't use magic. I'm a useless wizard, but I don't use music as part of the ambiance for my stream. I just find it more distracting than not. But I wanted something because I often also just lapse into silence because I start monologuing in my head and I forget to say it out loud. Those all calming sounds. My grandparents had a large grandfather clock. Yeah, that's the idea. Want it calming, I want it relaxing. I don't necessarily want people to fall asleep, but they can. I want it to be a nice calming environment where people can feel free to ask questions, show off stuff they've been working on, or just sit there and work on their own stuff. There's plenty of people that watch the stream while they're working on their own models and their own paint jobs, and that's wonderful. I love that. We don't always have the most active chat, and that's a-okay. I'd rather people be relaxing. The active chat helps every now and then, but I want people relaxing. I want people learning. I want people to be asking questions when they need to and not get those questions lost. I want them to have a nice... The word chill is overused on Twitch because everyone's a chill stream. But I do want it to be a relaxing environment where people can just relax and not feel too pressured. I need a singing bass for the wall. What song would he be doing? What song could we have him do? Have him do like the Omnissiah's incantation. That'd be hilarious. A wizard staff has a knob on the end? That can be true. Although Gandalf famously did not have a knob, he did have a place for a crystal in his pipe to sit. His was very utilitarian. It was very, very fitting for him. Keep on brightening. Make it brighter, make it brighter, make it brighter. Brighter, brighter, brighter. Make it brighter. Okay, we brightened up the back a little bit. There's still more to do, obviously, not only on the armor panels, but also on the tubes on the back of the shield with the gun. This is all just base coated and edge highlighted. I need to push that farther. The orange here, I need to try and figure out if I'm going to make this glowy, or if we're not going to bother with making it glowy and just say, like, look, it's just orange. Same thing here. The hammer needs a lot more refinement. There is, it doesn't look like non-metallic metal, and I do want certain parts of this to look like non-metallic metal. There's just not enough contrast and not enough of a high enough highlight in some of these. So, I need to work on that some more. There's still plenty to do on this to hopefully get it in as good a spot for Golden Demon as I'm capable of doing right now, but I feel good. I feel good. I feel really good about this guy. And then, of course, I need to keep doing more planning for my and start work on her. This is Chain. I can't remember her first name, but her last name is Chainbreaker. She is a Chaos Warrior hero from the old world, and I want to put her in as a fantasy single figure for Golden Demon as well. So we're gonna start her off from scratch and see how far we get. We'll see how far we get.
Welcome
but
to
she's
the Great
not.
Library.
She's not going to be the main focus, but I do want to do a really good job with her. So we'll take our time as well. Hey, Marky, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the Great Library. Appreciate you hanging out here. We're going to go ahead and find someone to raid out to. I really appreciate y'all being here tonight. Let's see who is live and painting, if anybody is. Wicked Minis looks like he's working on a Salamander, Space Marine, and also most likely working on an AOS miniature as well. So we're going to go raid over into Wicked Minis. Let me get that set up. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscriptions. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for all the raids. All 4 raids was crazy. Really appreciate you all being here. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Feel free to check out the Discord. Feel free to check out the TikTok. Check out the Instagram. I am teaching classes on tabletop non-metallic metal and painting beautiful hair at Adepticon. The tabletop non-metallic class is sold out, but if you want to do like a one-on-one or anything like that, feel free to hit me up. I'll have time to do that. I'd love to, or even if it's like a group of people, if you've got a group of friends who want to do something, we could certainly do that as well. I do have spots left in my painting beautiful hair class, which is ironic, I know, but I have a luscious beard. It justifies it. But there are some spots left in those classes if you're looking for additional classes for Adepticon. But we'll be back on Friday, at least that's the plan, at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, going until probably about now. Thank you so much for being here. Make sure to take time this week to do the thing that keeps you sane. And remember that painting is good for the soul. Have a good night, everybody.
Useless wizard coming in with that raid.